Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, a space for nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. What would it be like if you gave your body a leadership role in your business and chose greater happiness every day? These are the conditions that create a healthy biome and a thriving business. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. It is Heather Nichols here with you this week, and we're going to chat about creation. It's been an exciting time. There's so many cool things going on right now, and I've been actually working with this group of people. I guess since August in my generative business pods. The topic of this generative business pods is a 6-month business creation intensive. And this particular one is about money, and it's called The New Reality with Money. And I love how creation works because when I create classes, I just basically start kind of perceiving the energies of what I could create, what I would like to create, what would be fun to create. And then I kind of just start talking to the class and asking it, what would you like to be? What would you like to be about? What would you like to be called? And then from there, as I listen to the energies of the creation and I play with it, I interact with it, I engage with it, and I move with it, and then I make my own choices with it, things just start to roll and momentum builds and all kinds of cool stuff happens. And that's been the case with this class. The business pods is we are exploring a new reality with money, and it's been amazing to see what's been showing up for people and how much is showing up in the whole kind of collective around new possibilities for creation, the chaos of creation. This conversation in Access Consciousness that we just started having about the realms of creation and all these new energies opening up. And as part of the business pods, I'm doing also, this is open to other people as well, doing 75 days right now of the Access Consciousness, How to Become Money workbooks. And these are books that are really powerful. They're very energetic. They're very pragmatic. They're very different in terms of and they're books that you actually work with, and you answer questions and you read and you answer questions and you go back and you do them over and over again. And there's the original one and there's the advanced one. And I've done the original one probably at least 100 times, and the advanced one, not as many as that, but I've played with it quite a lot. And but whenever I really engage with these books, so much money gets created for me. It's always really amazing to see how just playing with these books and the energies of the books actually increases my money flows. And so we've been doing this daily money workbook call for the past, I guess it's been 35 or so days. And so much is opening up for people. And right alongside all of this, or with it, this is within the bigger movement of Access Consciousness, which is this ever evolving massive body of work. I wouldn't even really call it a body of work, but it's just this massive possibility that exists in the world that is energetic, pragmatic tools to change whatever you want to change, create whatever you want to create. And the thing that I love about Access Consciousness is that it's always evolving, and there's new tools coming out all the time, and new conversations, and right now there's just this explosion of new conversation after new conversation that builds on the last and gets more traction and more momentum and has more elegance and more energetic movement to it. And it's been really cool to see what is available. And we've gotten to this conversation just recently about the realms of creation, as I mentioned before. Gary Douglas and Dane here, who are the creators of Access, they just did a 3-part telecall on it that you can buy in the Access Consciousness shop. And there's a 3-day class coming up in December as well that I can't wait for. It's going to be amazing. And it's like, I feel like for me, it's just been like the conversation and the possibility and the space of creation that I've been asking for a very, very, very long time. And, you know, those of us that are the seekers of the world, people that are just different, people that see a different possibility, function from a different possibility, and don't really do things linearly, aren't good at structure with business and creation and all of that. And yet have this awareness of magic, basically. It's so cool to see, like what's kind of like, I mean, I feel like for me, I'll just speak for myself. Like I feel like I've always had this sense of like, there should be so much more magic available than I perceive is available, but I know there's more magic. I know more magic is possible. And let's have it. Like, let's have a reality where we can ask for things and have them show up and have things move faster than they normally do. Because a lot of us seekers of the world are not really great with patience. I am definitely one of those people. And so, you know, it's like bigger, better, faster, more yesterday kind of thing. And one of the things that Access has really taught me is to not judge that about myself, like to actually really see that as part of the brilliance of me, the difference of me. It is one of those things that gets highly judged about us. The people that have that point of view growing up, you know, probably we've all heard, you know, can't you just be grateful for what you have? And it's like, I am grateful for what I have, and I'd like more. I'd like to have even more so that I can have even more gratitude. And as you know, I know for me, like growing up, I started to slow that down and slow myself down and diminish myself because I wasn't willing to really have the speed and the elegance and the beauty and the magic of creation. I made all of that wrong, which was like my greatest brilliance. I made it all wrong. And then I, you know, decided that I obviously didn't know what I was doing. And I needed to study with other people and learn from other people and learn other things and figure out how to do this whole business and creation thing and money thing as well. And what's been showing up for me, well, I mean, the past 14 years since I've been doing Access Consciousness and using these tools and creating my business with them, is that the more I relax, the more chaos I instill in my business, the more I just play and I like enjoy my life, the more shows up and faster and with a sense of like not doing anything. And that is really cool. And I've been seeing that lately with this conversation about the realms of creation, which is really the acknowledgement that everything is choice. Like everything that we have right now, we have chosen the good, the bad, the ugly. And a lot of times we don't want to acknowledge that because we don't want to get vulnerable with ourselves. And we're like, why, if we have a circumstance that, is not the most ideal, you know, and we, you know, we've been kind of, you know, like suffering or struggling in some way. It's requires a lot of vulnerability to kind of look at that and go, well, gosh, what did I choose that created this, you know? And yet what I found is that when I've given myself the gift of that vulnerability and those conversations with myself, it's been amazing what shows up, because then I can really look and go, okay, so obviously I've chosen something here that I didn't know that I chose. Choice is always, you know, it's sometimes it's conscious, but a lot of times it's not. We choose things that we don't know we're choosing. And so, so, you know, there's moments of, you know, just having to get vulnerable and go, okay, well, I chose something here, and I may or may not know what it is. I may or may not need to know what it is. We don't always need to know what it is, but sometimes it's just even like the power of being willing to acknowledge our choice that changes things, so that we can ask for something different and choose something different. And sometimes it's helpful to know what we've chosen, but not to get hung up on that, but when I've looked at those things with myself, of like when my business isn't thriving, or my, money flows aren't as expansive as I would like them to be, a lot of times it's like, wow, I'm choosing to be less than. I'm choosing to be less than me. I might be choosing to be greater than what a lot of other people might choose to be, but I'm definitely choosing to be less than me, less than what I actually am, create less than I can create, less business, less and with money, like all the different areas of life, joy and happiness and freedom and movement and all that stuff. And a lot of times we stop ourselves for other people. And I'm not going to go, I could go totally into that. And I have in other podcasts, so I won't go down that road of like, why would we stop ourselves for other people? And what do you do about it? That's definitely a valid question, a good question to be asking, something to look at, something to dismantle and choose beyond. Really choose beyond. That's the realm of creation, is to go, oh, I was stopping myself for other people. Never mind. Now what can I choose? Like, and choice and creation can be that fast. But for me, the realms of creation, like it begins with the acknowledgement of like, okay, well, I chose whatever this is, and I would like to choose something different, and there's also the other side of that, where you can acknowledge what you've chosen, that is a brilliant choice, and the brilliance that you've been bringing. And so it's not about judging you, but it's just getting really pragmatic and going, cool. Everything I have, I chose, I created. Everything that is here is something I chose. Everything that isn't here is something I also chose. Now, what would I like to choose? And it feels like there's just all of these doors that have opened with this conversation. And that's the cool thing about the tools of access, is they're so energetic, that once we get to like a new universe, which we definitely have with this, it's like you step through the door. It's kind of like that, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. If anybody read that book when you were a kid, I know it's a movie too, but I read the book. I was, when I was like 10 or something, I read the book. And the cool thing about reading the book is you get to have this whole imagination of like when you go into the wardrobe and, what's behind, like there's this whole universe, that nobody knew existed before, and this magical land and this kind of fantasy land. And I always have that sense when we open a new door with the tools of access and with consciousness, I have this sense of like, wow, there's a new universe to explore here. And I've never had this sense of this the way that I do now with this. And, just seeing like the choice and the speed and the elegance and the movement and the energetics of creation that have been afoot in my own world, in the past many months, and like far out, like out creates everything I've ever created before. And I've been out creating myself more than ever, which is great and really fun. And it's like when we can acknowledge that the climate energetically is different, like these new doors have been opened that we can walk through if we desire. When we acknowledge that, you don't have to know what that means. You don't have to know what it is. You don't have to know what it looks like or like how. It's just like, hey, there's a whole new space here. Let's explore it, and that's how creation really works, is like, there's a new space here. Let's explore it. Let's see, let's see what we can find about this. Let's see how much more magic we can bring to it. Let's see how much more we can create with it. And it's been amazing to see, just like the chaos of it all. And for me, it's like when I wanted to tell a little bit of a story of creation, that kind of exemplifies this in a way, is that I think it was, I don't remember exactly when, but a couple months ago, I was like, there's so many things that I want to do. There's always a million classes that I want to facilitate, because I love facilitating and I love being in these conversations every day with beautiful people from all over the world, exploring possibilities with our businesses and with money flows and our bodies and, like all these things that we can create. To me, that is like my playground. And one of the things that I've done previously is really hold myself back from creating as much as I would like to create, because I didn't like, I always felt like it would be too much for people, like if I have so many classes for people to choose from, then, people are going to get overwhelmed. Like this weird sort of point of view that I didn't really even know that I had, of like, you can only promote a certain thing, a certain number of things at a time. You would never like launch 2 classes on the same day, all these kind of like standard operating procedure things that people do in this reality. And so I kind of bought into that, and I was like, well, I have to space it out in a good way. And there's a lot of like computation there that I didn't know was there. And when I started to look at it, I was like, okay, well, you know what? I don't care. I was like, I don't care. There's so many classes I want to do. I don't care if anybody does them. I just want to put these out there. I just want to put this on the schedule, put it on the map, engage with the energies of these creations and just go, and I don't need to figure out how to market them. And, like, I'm just not interested in that kind of, linear way of doing things. And so I just was like, I met with my team and it was like, okay, let's do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And it was like, great. And then when I put stuff on the calendar, I literally just look at my calendar. I look at like what pops, like things just pop out of my calendar, like certain days pop. And then that's what I do. That's where I put things, it's very, very energetic, a lot of chaos, like not a lot of linearity with how I choose these things. And so we just like threw all this stuff on the calendar and started, telling people about it and sending emails and sharing in social media, stuff like that. And it's been amazing just to see like all this chaos got instilled into my business. And it was like creating more than I was supposed to create before. And, having way too much going on, which, other people may say that that's been the case before, which I know it has, but this is like a whole new level. And I tell you, it's been so much fun. And I see this so much because I work with so many people that have businesses, and I'm in business conversations with people a lot. Basically every day for the past, I don't know, 12 years or so, I've been facilitating business in some way. But with the tools of access consciousness and joy of business, not again, like standard operating procedure business kind of stuff. And to me, business is creation. Businesses wake up in the morning and be like, cool, I'm alive. I'm so grateful. I have this amazing body. I have all these things I would like to create. What's that, and that could entail going to a job or, going to an office or working with a staff or being an employee or being an employer. Like it doesn't, the business of your life is your business, as we say in the joy of business. And it doesn't have to look, it doesn't, there's no particular way that looks for anybody. It's just like being engaged with whatever you're creating, whatever you're adding your energy to, whatever you're asking for, what you would like to have. And the more we do that on a daily basis, the more we just get to like have the beauty of that. And one of the things that people don't often do is add things to their life, which is a great question from the Joy of Business. What can I add to my life? What can I add to my life or my business today to create more right away? that really to me starts to get into the juice of the chaos of creation. And as I was, putting all these classes on the books, and now there's even more, like they're not even all on my website. A lot of them aren't on my website yet because there's a whole bunch of stuff we're doing. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. We're doing this whole holiday thrival guide, basically. It's going to be like little fun offerings throughout the whole month of December. I'm doing a 5 days of creation call, which I haven't done in a couple years. I used to do this every year between Christmas and New Year's, and some like quickie SOP sessions and all kinds of fun stuff. So you'll see that when it comes out. But it's just like, well, what else? What else? What else can we add? What else can I add? What else can we do? What else can we create? And let's do it. Let's have it, but the key piece here is that, like, to me, that's a lot of the adding, right? Adding to my life, adding to my business, just based on the energy, the fun of it, the joy of it. And then the key piece of it is actually that you never need to know how. Like I always say to people, you're off the hook for ever needing to know how again. You never need to know how to do something ever again for the rest of your life. And because why, and you might be like, how could you even say that? Well, because if you use the tools, the energetic tools of access and the joy of business, it's a totally different way of creating. And now that we have this realms of creation, it's like going back to that conversation of choice. It's like choice is how we create. So how do you create? You choose. You actually choose. And everything that you choose can become something greater, and you add your energy to it, and it's only good for 10 seconds, but you keep choosing and you keep choosing, and then you can change your choice at any time. But choice and asking questions and making choices is how we add our energies to things. And you coming from a place of joy, a place of having fun, enjoying your life, being enthusiastic about what you're creating, and being in question, making different choices, making courageous choices that you've never been willing to make before, to do things that you've never done before. That's how we like constantly instill chaos into our lives and into our businesses. And we add our energies then to those choices, to those creations. We add our energies, and by just engaging with them every day. And for me, when we put all these classes on the books, it was like, more than I had done in a while. I had things have been a little quieter for me for the past year or so. It was like creation begets creation. Creation started to stimulate more creation, and I was having a lot more fun and all these things. And all these people started just like flowing in different ways, and showing up for different creations and different classes and different conversations, and making new connections with people. And then, me choosing even more that I didn't think I could choose. And then even more, connections and beautiful conversations and possibilities. It's like, this is the chaos of creation. This is the realms of creation, is seeing your choice as like the guiding force really in your own life and living, and seeing yourself as this unique element in the universe that has a unique kind of set of choices available to you, of energies available to you, of questions that you can be asking, of things that are fun for you, things that you enjoy, things that you like, things that you're really good at, capabilities that you have that other people don't have. And when you start to really play on that playground, the realms of creation playground, it's like we're constantly stimulating magic every single day, everywhere we turn. And it's been so amazing to see, because I really feel like this space of creation that I've known was possible my whole life. It's like, it's here. And I've been willing to really to choose things that make me uncomfortable or that I don't think are possible. And it's like, I'm just gonna, it's like, I'm just gonna have this. Like today I went through and I made this big list of everything I had ever thought I wanted to do to my house. Because you know, when you own a house, there's always a million things you want to do. So I was like, I'm gonna write them down. I'm just gonna write them down, and I'm gonna write down, you know, if I know how much it would cost or whatever. Maybe some I do, some I don't. But I'm just gonna like start. I'm just gonna choose to do all these things. Like I don't know how the money is gonna show up. I mean, I think it was a pretty big chunk of change that I was looking at, you know. But I'm like, hey, you know, I'm gonna just choose to do all of this, and I don't have any idea how the money's gonna show up. But it doesn't matter. I do know, however, that it will, because I'm choosing. I'm choosing. And now instead of being like, I can't replace my carpet because I just bought a new car, you know, I can't, you know, replace my carpet and my floors downstairs and paint my whole interior and, you know, all these things. Like I need a new furnace, and, you know, I can't do all of that because whatever, you know, it's like, that just is not in my vocabulary anymore. It's like, new furnace, new carpet, new flooring, new, you know, all the things, like paint job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then what else can I ask for even beyond that? Like, and, you know, after a while, a list like that kind of seems just like, well, that's just not that big of a deal anymore, you know? So now what could I choose? And that has been the case for me. I mean, I over the past 14 years using these tools, I mean, my life is completely different than I thought it would be. And then than it was. You know, I was living in a little freezing cold, freezing cold townhouse with my two little kids, my two little boys, when I started Access in 2010, and really hoping for some magic, like knowing that magic existed, but just really not having an idea of like where I could find it. Little did I know it was with me and my own choices. But, you know, and desiring a business where, you know, I travel all over the world and I get to wake up every morning and just like, I don't actually feel like I ever work. I just thoroughly enjoy my life. And sometimes it's showing up at a class facilitating, or showing up at a class for, you know, a bigger Access class and hosting, or it, you know, being in my house and just kind of like doing my thing and creating things. And woven through all of that is like a lot of self-care of my body and movement and beautiful meals and just like beautiful people. It's like my life is amazing. And I do travel all the time. And then I even recently got to a place where I was like, I kind of want to travel a little bit less, you know? So I did that. I've been doing that. It's been nice to be home a little bit more. But, you know, but still having the, like, well, where else would I like to go in the world? And what else can I create? And notice that those are all questions. And I don't have a defined sense of what that is. Haven't decided where I need to go, what I need to do, what I need to choose. But I do wake up every day and I ask, like, what are the choices that are available to me uniquely, that are like my unique perspective on the world, my unique gift, my unique offerings, my unique creations, like the things that are the capacities that I have that nobody else has. And everybody has that, you know, it's not about making myself better. Everybody has that. But you have to ask about it, you know, and you have to be willing to choose it, because not everybody's willing to choose that. And once you realize that, you know, that's the whole people conversation we didn't have. But once you realize that, then, you know, maybe we'll have it again. Maybe we'll have it next time or something. Once you realize that, there's going to be a lot of people that they're going to have points of view about what you choose. You're, you know, too free, too empowered, spending too much money, you know, not controllable. You're not linear enough. You're not organized enough. You're whatever, you know, you don't have your goals for, you know, 2025 yet, you know, all that stuff. It's like, that's all just points of view that people have. You can make that real or not. It's all choice. So when you choose to have a different perspective, a different point of view, and you choose to actually choose, like have choice as your reality, and those realms of creation, question, choice, possibility, and chaos, really, that then we start to move in a different way. And I think I know for me, giving myself more permission every single day to function from these energies has made, I am having more and more fun in my life all the time. Like every day is more fun, even when I'm just like by myself. Like today I was just by myself. I spend a lot of time when I'm home. You know, my children are teenagers. One of them's at college. He doesn't really, the one that's home is like, you know, he doesn't really, he's, when you're 17, you don't really want to hang out with your mom. I mean, let's just, you know, we all know this, right? So I see him, I bribed him with steak last night. I made steak and he and his girlfriend came over. We sat down for a half hour, ate steak, and then they left, you know. So I got my 30 minutes for the week. But I really enjoy being by myself. And then I also enjoy being with other people. And I get to just like create it. I love for my life to be different every day. And within all of that, it's like, let me just, I'm going to end soon, but I want to speak specifically to the money piece of this, because this is where people start to go, well, like you must have lots of money, so you can do that. Well, I mean, yes and no, but I've created it. Like I've chosen it and I've created it. I mean, yes, I do. And I've created it and I've chosen it. It's not like I had it laying around and my family's just like funneling it to me or some, you know, whatever, or my husband or whatever. That's not the situation. Like I create it. I create it in a lot of different ways, and I create it by choosing. Now, I'm not choosing money specifically. I mean, yes, money is included in the choices that I make, but I'm choosing chaos. I'm choosing choice. I'm choosing the realms of creation. I'm choosing these classes. Hey, everybody, I'm doing 25 classes this month. Who wants to come? You know, and I'm also choosing dynamically to not judge, like to not be like, that's too much, it's not enough, or the classes are too small, or there's not enough people, or there's not, like, none of that. I don't do any of that anymore. And that's all a choice. I did at one point. And I actually heard Dean here, one of the creators of Access Consciousness, say at one time, he said, you know, somebody asked me, like, why is your business growing the way that it is? And he looked at it and he went, you know, when I start to judge myself, I stop. And he attributed that's a choice. That is a dynamic choice. And he attributed that to the growth of his business. It wasn't, I've got the right marketing strategy, you know, or I am, you know, like I'm creating all these followers so people want to follow me around, you know. It was when I start to judge myself, I stop. And that is a very powerful choice. And it's a choice that you make, and then you make it again and again and again. You have to notice in the moment when you're doing that, when you're judging you and when you're judging your business. And I will say that in my less creative times, I'm in more judgment of me and more judgment of my business. Like I kind of feel like I had a year of that without really knowing it. That ended this summer, and I didn't realize that until it ended. I mean, it just, things shifted. I chose into a different space, and things shifted. And I also, in that year, like so many incredible things were happening. Like I was still flourishing in a lot of ways and changing a lot of things and making a lot of choices, and committed to being out of judgment. But judgment stops our businesses. It stops our money flows. It stops creation. It kills our bodies. It kills the planet. Like it's such a destructive energy. And so making the choice of, when I judge myself, I stop. And then I want to create all these things, and then I can invite all these people, and I'm super enthusiastic about it. And I'm like, yeah, like come and play, or don't come and play. I don't care if you choose or don't choose, or if nobody shows up for my class. It doesn't matter to me. You know, it doesn't. And not from a like, fuck you, it doesn't matter, but literally I'm so enjoying creation that's my vital source, is the choice to create. That is my vital, so like I'm the source, but that's a vital, one of the most vital nutrients that I add to my entrepreneurial biome, is the choice, like choice and creation. Choice is creation, but the choice to create and the choice to have fun and the choice to enjoy and the choice to be enthusiastic and to find new things that have never existed before and bring them to life. I love like perceiving something that's never existed before and bringing it to life. And that is like, for me, so central to my creative juiciness. And then when I can find that, like I choose it and I go, and that's, that may or may not be true for you. It's not about you doing what I do or being what I be, but find out what your vital nutrients are for the thriving of your entrepreneurial biome. Because now I'm going to circle back to the money thing. That is actually the thing that gets money to flow into your life. That's what gets money to flow into your life, is you're asking for money, you're willing to have it, but you're not creating for money. You're not trying to get money. You don't have the point of view that you're not going to have money. You don't have the point of view that you're going to run out of it someday. None of that. And that's what the How to Become Money workbooks are actually really beautiful. They change the energetics of that dynamically, because they have you looking at all these different things, and money is such a massively judgeable topic. So money is a byproduct of creation and chaos and choice and joy and ease and glory and enthusiasm. When you tend to the biome, the components of it, let's say, like you make sure that the soil is as nutrient dense as it can be, and you make sure there's the water and all these different things, like you have a diversity of plant life, and the whole biome flourishes. But if you try to be like, I'm going to get the whole biome to flourish by doing this one thing, you're completely missing the mark. That's not how an ecosystem works. So money is the result, and money and so many other things, a greater future, joy, all these things are a result of your engagement every day with chaos, with the realms of creation, with question, choice, possibility, chaos, with choice as a reality, with the exploration of what's true for you, true, like at the level of your being, with the thrival that is possible and the choice for that, and not letting yourself get distracted by other people. That is all, like, as you commit to that and you have more of that, and you're like, no matter what it takes, I'm going to have a fun life. I'm going to have a joyful life. I'm going to have a fun day today. I'm going to have a joyful day today, no matter what. No matter what. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters. Yes, of course, we want to be aware of people, and, we want to be like aware of and contributing to, as much as we can, so many different things that are happening. And there are people that are really suffering, and I'm not saying that they don't matter or that doesn't matter, but when it comes to your creative universe, like, you can include that. But if you're trying to like handle that, instead of being like, I'm going to be an energy of ease, joy, glory, exuberance, enthusiasm, creativity, chaos, choice, a different possibility in the world, like when you choose that, then everybody gets to benefit, and the money flows as a result of it. You don't have to focus on it or think about it. Like me being like, I'm going to do all these things to my house. All right, cool. Now onward and keep creating. Now I've, my new furnace is like in my field, my new carpet, my paint job, my new flooring downstairs, like it's all there, it's like, cool, great. I'm going to have this and I can do this and da, da, da. And it just flows. And, I think I told the story about how I bought my car. My son totaled my car and I bought a new car, And it was that I knew when to go to the dealership. I went to the dealership. It was like Monday morning at 9 o'clock. I just knew Monday morning at 9, I need to be there. I went there. I saw the car. I drove the car. I bought the car, and I bought it right then and there. I just was like, I'll take it, And the guy said, "Oh, there's some people that might be coming in an hour to buy it. So, or they might not be, And I was like, well, it's mine. so, so I bought it. And I didn't need to be nice and prove that I was a good person and, wait and see if those people wanted it. I was like, well, they didn't buy it. I don't know if they're coming or not, but I'm going to buy it. So here we go. Let's do this, and boom, boom, boom. Everything just like fell into place. That's the power of choice. And all of these are actually kind of small examples, because and they're very relevant to us in our daily lives and everything that we're creating. And it's like, let's also apply that to a greater future for the world, to like, what would you like to be? What's your long game of what you'd like to be creating, 50 years in the future, 100, 1,000 years in the future as a being. Of course, your body will probably not be here in 1,000 years, but your being will. Our beings are infinite. They never die. And so I see it as a long game, way beyond this body, way beyond Heather Nichols. Like, my being is a dynamic creator, and it's here, and it's never going to die. It's never going to go away. Sorry, not sorry. And enjoying the hell out of creation as a reality. And we can apply that wherever we are in the universe, So it's very exciting. As you can tell, I'm a little bit enthusiastic about it all. And thank you for listening and being part of it and receiving. And for whatever it is that you may be choosing or you might choose now, choice is so powerful, and you just never have to know how it's going to show up. All you have to do is choose. And when you do, you start to sort of like energetically educate yourself. And be educated too. Like, do take classes. I mean, taking classes is like, it's been a massive part of this for me, of everything that I've been able to create. I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now without the information and the awareness that I get, the energetic changes that I get. Really, it's the energetic changes that I get as the primary thing from classes. So it's one of my favorite ways to use my money to create greater. And I get to facilitate too, which is wonderful. But the point is, like, educate yourself about the energetics of creation and the energetics of choice, both by whatever you can get your hands on, and then also your own experience of it. Because when I first started using choice, like wielding the tool of choice, as my tool, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, well, they say that choice creates, so here we go. And I started choosing these classes that I wanted to take. I had no idea how I was going to pay for them. It was so beyond what I was willing to, like, the amounts of money I was willing to work with at that time. And within a few months, it was just like, I did I think I did like 4 classes in like a 4-month period, which for me at that time was a lot. Now I'm doing them like every day, basically, between my own and other people's classes. But that was a lot for me. It was a big choice. It was, probably, I don't know, $10,000 worth of classes at the time. And that was a huge amount of money for me at that time. And I didn't have it at the outset, but I kept going, one foot in front of the other. Every day, wake up, have fun, make a new choice, see what I could create. And it just started showing up. And then there was this momentum that came with it. And the momentum to me is like, it's part of what has blown open the doors of the realms of creation. And the momentum is even way faster, way more powerful, way more dynamic. Like, the whole universe is like singing now, and it's a new reality, truly. And so all of these things become even easier now than they've ever been. And that is really, really exciting. It's an exciting, exciting time. No matter what's going on in the world, change never shows up like we think it's going to. So you got to stay in question. You got to stay in choice. Recognize that you're the source. And the realms of creation are here, and we get to have them and be them and create what we've always known we could create. So I hope this was a contribution. As I mentioned, there is the Realms of Creation class that is going to be facilitated by Gary Douglas and Dane here mid-December. I believe it's the 15th, 16th, 17th of December. It's going to be online. And I also have a Business Done Different class coming up next week, like a few days from when this podcast launches. So that's also going to be online. And that is a mega class in terms of, that's a real education in the energetics of creation and choice as well. And you're invited to that as well. And then we'll have our holiday fun times in December. I'm excited to launch that out into the world. So you can find it all on my website or the Access Consciousness website for the Realms of Creation class. You do have to have taken a Choice for Possibilities class to do Realms of Creation. So that's a prerequisite access class. And how does it get better? Thank you so much. What is possible now that we've never considered? And I will see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. For more resources, check out my website at heathernichols.com and my social media channels as well. Have a beautiful day, and remember that your business thrives when you do.